it's new tyre day today, and as normal, it's raining. I don't think I've ever once put a new tyre on when it hasn't been raining. Which is fine. Tanker's having a meeting, lovely. Snap Norris cracking on. He's not hanging about at all. Good for him. Stay in these roads. It's getting worse and worse, you know. I'm not normally one to bother with potholes, just crash over them or through them or whatever, you know, part of it. But it's getting a bit ridiculous. This lorry's going to come round in front of me. This bike just is not steering at all. Really, really squared off, scalloped front. And you get to about this sort of state of lean, and it's like, nah, you're not going to go any further than that. Hateful bit of road, this one. It's always too busy. There's always too many twats on it. Like this one. Got to go, you know, go nice and loose over the cat's eyes and the white paint and all that snot that's going to catch you out. Watch out for people turning in front of you. Make sure they've seen you. Don't be doing any daft manoeuvres here. And you might be able to pick it up again after these lorries are gone, but then that label on the right hand side's got a big danger arrow sticking out of it. The lorry tries to pull out, they're going to come into the centre lane. So just leave it be. There's the time and the place. We're going off at this roundabout, so got yourself a bit of a nice gap in that stretch there. But getting ahead of one or two, it's not going to make any difference, because here I'm still snarled up. If I was behind the van or behind the cars, you know, it's not going to help me at all. Whereas this lot could have pulled away by now. Yeah, come on. Let's go. Come on. Jesus. Go now. Accelerate. He's not coming round. People need to look more beyond their bonnet and anticipate what the hell's going on, because seriously, shit. Little white car sticking his nose out there. No idea if anybody's in it or not. Doesn't look like. Nobody in this red one. Go past. Big mirror's tucked in. There's nobody in it. Go past. Black one's full of brake lights up ahead. Why is that? Can't squeeze a little tiny car through a little gap. That's why. Come on, I mean, seriously. You get a bloody GTR through there. Anyway, that's enough of my whinginess. I'll check back in when I've got a nice new fresh tyre on and I'm riding like Miss Daisy. Cheerio. So, nice new Bridgestone T32 fitted from the top man at F&B Tyres. Totally recommended. Go there every single time. Sun's come out, stopped raining. Still got some damp on the old roads, so lovely fresh tyre on the front. Scrubbing in wise, you're normally talking about 100 miles. People talk about heat cycles and all this sort of stuff, but you got to go steady for a little bit. Just ease yourself in. And I have heard that wet miles don't count, so any wet miles you do, that doesn't sort of help. But saying that, we all have our own ways of dealing with stuff, and my way is normally to give it some pain fairly quickly in a nice straight up fashion on the brakes. The theory behind my thinking is that if I've got a nice scrubbed in patch, slippy slip slip slip, a nice scrubbed in patch on the middle of the tyre, if I do need to stop quickly, at least I know I can stop. So we'll give ourselves a few emergency braking procedures in a second. It also helps to fit the brakes back into the discs and all that sort of stuff, because they've all been out. So just a nice few emergency stop situations whilst the bike's upright and whilst I'm prepared for it will help us get a nice grippy bit in the middle of the tyre, so at least then you know it's all good. I just saw a black car doing some overtaking up there. Means there's nothing coming for a while. So just leaving it late on the brakes, then giving them a good squeeze, just to give them a bit more. It's a bit rough on the riding, doesn't look very nice, but helps just get that tyre squashed into the ground a bit. And it's dry, so we can start ticking the miles off. Network rail van just needs to move his wing mirror so I can see over the top of it. Got a line of 3 coming down that I can see. I'll go after this one. That'll do for us. So, nobody behind. Let's get this brake working. There's one. too. That'll do. That's ABS kicking in, it's all the rest of it. It's just like, let's give it some pain, because it's going to get some later in its life. The sooner it gets used to it, the better. Nice greasy roundabout next. Bearing in mind, we've got a nice scrubbed in middly bit. So as we go further and further, leaning around the corners, it's going to be nicer and nicer for that tyre. Certainly not going to go burying straight into the first roundabout we come to. That's asking for trouble. So just increasing that lean angle gently and keeping a sort of a imaginary good bit in your head on the tyre. How far over have you been in the last few miles? And just ease into it, you know, a few degrees at a time. Start to trust the tyre, because at the minute, straight out of the factory, they got that release agent on them. You know, people talk about chicken strips. Well, you're always going to have them on the front. But ease over gently, not too harsh. Don't go bearing into the throttle on, sorry, bearing into corners on the trail braking on the front and all that. Just giving it too much to think about. Let it roll for a bit. Check it every time you go out on the bike before you get on. Check how it looks. If you're happy with it, if it starts looking like it's scrubbing in, you can go a bit more. People have different ideas of scrubbing tyres in. Don't listen to me, I'm an absolute idiot. I do the same with the back, by the way. If I put a new back tyre on, the first thing I'm going to do is light it up in a nice straight line. That way I know that I've got some grip in the middle of the tyre. That scrubs in about 3 seconds and I don't have to worry about it anymore. What you don't want is to be pulling away from a junction and having it spin up when you least expect it. So get some grip where you know it's going to be. You know, that lovely smell of diesel you get around that roundabout. Oof. Beautiful. That stank. You can see it glistening nicely in the wet. Just perfect. So just into the roundabout, straighten it up, nice and steady, not giving the tyre too much to worry about just yet. And off we go. Horses is going over, that's fine, give them a flash, let them know. I'll be going up the inside of them anyway, round. But I appreciate them giving me an early indication of where they're going to go, because then I can just slot into this roundabout, overtake the horse box. Nice bit of shell grip to use, you know, patchy shell grip that ends halfway round. Why do they do that? Following the dry line. Inside shoulder check, there's nothing in my mirrors. Mr. Ford is probably want to go over to his van, but I'm going to do it first. And away we go. And another opportunity then to squash this tyre into the ground at the end of this little bit. And after that, we'll just ride pretty normally. So, last of the late breakers. There we go. Now we've got some grip. Absolutely magic. That'll do for us. We shall title this video How not to scrub a tyre in. Scudulators.